What's up, guys? GagexScapegoat here. I'm in a really good mood because I've been waiting to talk about this topic for a while. I keep forgetting to talk about it on my channel, so I figured why not talk about it on Avery's channel. We are going to be talking about the unbanning of Pot of Greed. We are going to be saying, if I may quote capital G, we're going to be talking about why pot is good for you despite what every adult may have said in your life.
Pot is good with that weed, man. Roll my weed up, man.
See?
I'm on that good cushion alcohol, bro.
When was the last time you heard of a guy smoking pot and then beating his wife? You don't hear that now, do you?
And I'm in my bedroom, bro. Man, I can see the vapor going up into the air vents. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, that's
not what Wayne got going, bro.
Oh God, no. The difference between you and Lil Wayne is that you have talent.
Oh man,
no, that's not what we're talking about. Let's talk about Pot of Greed. Okay, so Avery is the one that's against the bringing back of Pot of Greed. I'm just saying bring it back to 1. I'm not saying put it back to 3. That'd be ridiculous.
Dude, even at 1, that's way too much pot for your players, man.
Okay, so let's get started. This is gonna be like a debate. So give me your first reason why it should not be legal.
All right. So in all seriousness, I will quote capital G here, as Gage just did. It does make the game for both players even. That it gives both players a chance to draw 2 cards.
Pot of Greed does not discriminate.
I agree with that. So what?
I said Pot of Greed doesn't discriminate. Like, you know, for example, Wind Up Factory. It's a +1.
Yeah, like it doesn't give.
It doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't give one player an advantage over another.
1,000%
It's an equal card in that sense.
Yes.
But it's the sense that you're not losing any advantage over playing 1 card. Like, let's say you're sitting with 6 cards in your hand. It's your opening turn, and you're sitting with a Pot of Greed in hand. You activate it. You're down to 5 cards, so you're -1 out of your hand. You draw 2. You just +1. Now you're sitting at 7 cards in your hand. Like, there's no reason. Like, if you were to bring back Pot of Greed to 1 tomorrow, okay, let's say that for example, every deck in the meta would run it. And I'm not just saying that because, like, oh,
exactly.
We got E-Dragons and shit.
Exactly.
No,
I couldn't think...
Every single damn deck would play a Pot of Greed.
Exactly. I could not think of a reason why not to play Pot of Greed. I get that.
But here's the problem, though.
Uh-huh.
Lose no advantage over playing the card. Hell, we got 2 potted dualities, for God's sake. The reason why they put it at 2 was because 3 was way too damn broken. Every single deck that could play potted duality was playing it at the max of 3. Like, if you were not playing that shit at 3, like, you were doing something wrong because it gave you so much more consistency and it gave you so much more thing through your deck. Hell, look at gadgets. The #1 deck that can probably thin through it the most is, like, with the 2 gadget spam. Just go Goldfish gadget search, Goldfish gadget search. Triple duality when they could.
Goldfish gadgets are awesome.
So much more consistency.
All right, now so here, like, I guess I kind of miss here. I mean, like, just give like the long and short. Like, what's the reason why we shouldn't unban Pot of Greed?
Main reason,
yes.
Because you lose no advantage. In fact, you just gain a plus for doing nothing.
Okay, I guess kind of like you said, what are the gadgets then?
Gadgets are the exact same thing. Back to what I was saying about Pot Duality is that, you know, that's the reason why they put it at 2, was because every deck that could use it was using it at 3 because it gave so much more consistency. It fixed any kind of clogging problems that a deck had. The gadgets themselves, they're able to search. Duality gives them more consistency. Pot of Greed would give them that +2 draw that they might need in order to get out of a situation. Like, what if they're sitting with, like, 3 cards in hand, and it's like a red, a green, and a yellow. They rip a Pot of Greed, they activate it, and they get 2 Machina Fortresses. Like, they deserve to win because they played a Pot of Greed and happened to get lucky by drawing 2 cards because they were able to search through their deck that much with also running 2 potted duality. Let's say, for example, they were using 2
Okay, well, here, let me address a couple of things that you said first. Now, hang on. Okay, first you said that the main thing is because you lose no advantage over playing it. Well, first let me say, what about Card-Cardie? Now, oh, wait a minute, but it makes you waste your normal summon and blah, blah, blah. Okay, then what is Chain Burn? With Chain Burn, for the most part, you don't need the normal summon at all. So by saying, no, hang on.
Card-Cardie works differently for specific decks. Pot of Greed doesn't work differently for specific decks. It works the same for every different deck.
You see that most decks play Card-Cardie. Most decks
do, but they use them differently. No one would use Pot of Greed differently. How else could you use Pot of Greed differently besides like one person using it to scratch their ear and the other person using it to comb their hair. Like,
no, you see, I get what you mean.
Different way to use it.
I get what you mean in that sense of, you know, it's a mindless +1, you know, it must be banned. Let me ask you this. In most cases, I'm not saying all, believe me, I promise you I do not mean all circumstances, but in most circumstances, can you not conceive that if a person rips a pot of greed and beats you because of it, then in most cases, I'm going to preface it by saying, in most cases, they were probably in a winning position, or they were probably going to win the game anyways.
So you're telling me if you have no hand, you top deck a pot of greed, and you activate it and get the mindless +1 from it, and you happen to win from that, then you deserve to win?
I didn't say you deserve to win. There's a lot of decks that don't deserve to win. Chain Burn, Exodia, Final Countdown, etc.
But they do because of what they have. What's the word I'm looking for? What they have access to.
Yeah.
But it's the simple fact that, like, it just, oh my god, if they were to, like, bring back anything on the balance besides Tsukiyomi 3, because no one gives a damn about it anyway,
pretty much,
and they just brought Pot of Greed back to 1, I guarantee you every deck would run it at 1. It's almost like running a third duality. Hell, it's better than duality.
Well, here, let me ask you this. You say, well, here, give me the long and short, like, because you lose no advantage over it? Like, that's the main thing?
There's no way you can lose advantage over pot duality. No matter what situation you're in, you're getting a +1.
Well, then here, let me give you another example. What about Pot of Avarice? Not only do you get the mindless draw, too, but you also shuffle your resources back into your deck.
Yeah, you get the +2 draw, and then you get to return 5 of your monsters back into the deck.
Exactly. Nobody really seems to have a problem, and you didn't bring this up when we were talking about this video as a possibility.
No, trust me, people have problems with it. That's why I went to 1.
No, but you see, nobody has a problem with banning Avarice, is what I was trying to say. Nobody says, oh, ban Avarice. What if we ban Avarice and bring back Pot of Greed? Because if you have...
What deck is using Avarice right now besides Gadgets?
No, I'm trying to tell you about the card in general, though. I'm saying, though, that the card in general is like Pot of Greed, plus you shuffle your resources back into the friggin' deck.
So you're saying it's a Pot of Greed where you get a +2 draw, in the case of Avarice, and let's say, for argument's sake, returning 5 monsters is like getting a +5?
Well, in a sense. I wasn't really saying that.
You're saying from Pot of Avarice you get a +7.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not going with pluses. I'm just saying the fact that you recycle your resources and you draw 2 off of it. And
but you're not necessarily going to draw into those 2 resources. Now,
exactly.
I will admit the same can be said for Pot of Greed.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that they're going to keep it banned.
Oh, I didn't say that.
From a point of view of Konami, I think they will just keep it banned for the simple fact that it's a mindless +1.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's a mindless +1. But it doesn't Pot of Greed is an unfair card. I will admit that. Pot of Greed is as unfair of a card as freaking is as unfair as Logia set. Or no. I'm not even gonna compare those two. The first person that plays Pot of Greed is not gonna win the game. It's not Logia set 4. It's not Xian set 3. Pot of Greed is a mindless +1, but the fact remains is that it's not just good in a certain deck. It's not. I'm trying to find a way of putting it. It's not like lava. No, I can't even compare it to that. Like, I'm trying to find a way of putting it.
It's not Yata-Garasu lock. Let's leave it.
It's not Yata lock. It's not, Xian set 4. It's not, Logia set 4. It's not, oh, he has Pot of Greed. There's no way I can come back from this. No, it's not like when Solemn Judgment was at 3, where whoever drew the most Solemns was...
Royal Oppression at 3. Holy hell. That was terrible.
It's not, when Judgment was at 3, whoever drew the most Solemns was probably going to win the game. No, the first person that draws Pot of Greed is not going to win the game. Hell, if you draw Pot of Greed, you might not win the game anyway. I'm not saying that
but the smart players would hold on to their Pot of Greeds until, like, the grind game started happening.
Yeah, I understand that.
Like, I mean, just think about, like, Mermels versus Mermels. Hell, if they're both drawing bad and it ends up coming to a grind game, you know for a fact that as soon as someone gets a Pot of Greed, they are going to play that shit so fast.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, though, is that...
that extra 2-card plus, those 2 new cards in their hand, could mean the difference between whether that person wins or loses.
Yeah, but at the same token, keep in mind, though, is that you're not going to always top-deck Pot of Greed in the best situation possible. You can get... Or, like you said, good players are going to put Pot of Greed, on the board whenever it counts most. But you know, there can be games where you won't even draw Pot of Greed. Hell, I play 3 Gravekeeper Spies in my GKs clearly, and sometimes I don't even draw a spy in my game in my entire. I went I was at a regional and I played against a
smoked that pot of weed, man.
No, I played against a Dino Rabbit guy, and in both matches, because I got 2-0 just because he had so many damn traps, I did not draw a spy either game. You know, just because you put, and that's at 3. I'm saying put Pot of Greed back at 1.
Oh, that shit can happen. Like, I mean, that can't be avoided. But
yeah, exactly. Like, the same with Pot of Greed, though. You're saying, oh, you know, you're going to hold on to it till late game. You're not always going to draw it late game. It's a 1 card in a 40 to 41 to 40 whatever card deck. I'm not saying that you're going to draw it all the time, and even when you do draw it, like I said, it's not Judgment when it was at 3. It's not.
I mean, I will admit, it's not Raigeki. I mean,
it's not Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, and then OTK your opponent. It's not that at all. So I'm saying though that while Pot of Greed is an unfair card, it is the most mindless card in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! I will admit this. Right hand up to whatever deity is above me right now. I will say that Pot of Greed is the most mindless card in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's good in everything. Everybody wants draw power. It's just going to help you win. It's the same as the gadgets. They're going to help Machina Gadgets win. It's the same as Card E. It's going to help fucking Electrum OTK win. You know, Pot of Greed is a mindless card, but it is good in everything. It helps all decks.
Although, again, looking at it from a Konami point of view,
I'm not saying it's going to be.
If they were to bring back Pot of Greed to 1,
ban Avarice.
How would that help any of their sale revenues? Like, the main reason why they brought back Tsukiyomi was because they just made it ulti.
Yeah, I know that.
And on top of that, they just, I don't know, maybe they just thought it wouldn't really do anything in this format.
It didn't.
But it's just like, it's just so damn mindless. Like, you just play that shit as soon as you draw it, and you just get to see 2 free cards out of your deck. That's 2 cards lower in your deck, which gives you the opportunity to draw in newer cards quicker. It's just, I like I said, I think the main reason why Konami is going to keep it banned will be either until they decide to reprint it, like they did with BLS.
They need to ban BLS, by the way.
They'll probably just keep it banned because it's just way too damn mindless. It's a mindless +1. Like it's like Raigeki. It's like, I know it's not like Raigeki, but Raigeki was just so mindless. Like, your opponent could have game, and then it's just taken away from them by 1 card.
Yeah, but like, here, I can give you another, like, you say it's a mindless +1. Okay, what is Wind Up Factory? Like, really?
Yeah,
like, how much more mindless is Wind Up Factory?
For specific cards, whereas Pot of Greed, you just get to take the top 2 cards of your deck and just take them.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like,
what about a Convulsion of Nature? Like, what about that stupid shit? Like, you could just go Pot of Greed, take the next 2 cards. Yeah, your opponent sees them, but I mean, hell, you got to see them a long-ass time ago because you already got to see your whole deck with Convulsion of Nature.
Wow, I even forgot that this card was in play. I haven't heard of this card in a long time.
G-Hopper 85, that dude in prison, yeah.
Like, with your, like,
him as that.
With Convulsion of Nature,
you made a deck around it a long time ago. You take your whole deck and you basically put it upside down.
Yeah.
It's really neat. Like, I kind of want to make a deck around it. It's really neat.
It's funny.
It's one of those. It's like if you open with the first turn, you basically get to know what your opponent has and when they're gonna have it.
It's even funnier though. Like, if you play that'd be a good card. Come to think of it, Convulsion of Nature would be really good in Frognarks, because if you sacrifice Treeborn Frog for a Ryza or whatever, and you're supposed to put it at the top of the deck, wouldn't you technically be putting it at the bottom?
Yeah, and then you just pop Convulsion of Nature, and then it goes at the bottom.
Pretty much.
That's pretty good.
So, but yeah, like. So I guess we're not talking about Convulsion of Nature. We're talking about POG.
But I would say for my final closing arguments, I did not initiate the Code Red. for those of you who have seen that movie with Tom Cruise, I forget his name. I didn't order the Code Red. So you're gosh dang right that I didn't. But in all honesty, in all seriousness, again, it's a mindless +1. It's not going to do anything for Konami sales if they were to bring it back, looking at it from a business point standing. And so I think it's going to stay banned for that main reason, that it keeps both players even. It doesn't give one player advantage over the other. But just look at it from the simple fact that it's a mindless +1. I think it's going to stay banned.
Well, I'm not saying, well, here, and, like, to counter that, yes, Pot of Greed is mindless. Yes, it's a mindless +1. But, yes, it does help out all decks. And plus, yeah, I'm not talking about Konami bringing it back. Konami's never going to bring this card back. Because it's Konami, and for them to bring back Pot of Greed would make players happy. And that's just not how Konami works. Oh, hey, instead of supporting the kind of archetypes we have now, let's make a deck that revolves around Blue-Eyes White Dragon. Duh.
That's pretty exciting. You gotta admit, I'm excited.
It's cool, but I'd rather them support the archetypes that they have. Hey, instead of working on a new archetype that's going to need support in the future, I made a video about this, and instead of supporting the decks that currently need support, let's make new decks that'll need it in the future. Yeah, let's forget about Toons, let's forget about Spirits, let's forget about GKs, let's forget about all the decks that need support. Yeah, instead let's focus on a Blue Eyes structure deck. Konami, I'm flipping you off right now.
Oh man, you prove a point. I will admit, but remember that this game is for 7-year-olds and up. I mean, they got to appeal to all ages.
Nah. Whatever. I just realized that we're talking about Pot of Greed. We're not talking about a Blue Eye structure deck.
Anyways, you guys leave us comments down below about what you guys think. This is an ongoing debate. Hopefully, we can be able to get some famous YouTubers in on this. But yeah, those are my closing arguments.
As a closing,
take it away.
As a closing thought. I understand that Pot of Greed, like I said, is a mindless +1. It doesn't give an advantage over anybody else. And like I said, you're not going to lose to your opponent because they top deck a Pot of Greed. If they beat you because they top deck that Pot of Greed, odds are, in most cases, they were gonna beat you anyways. And yes, Pot of Greed is mindless. It is a mindless +1. So is Card Cardi, but we're not gonna leave that in discussion, but whatever. But it is a mindless +1. It is good in everything. It is just everybody needs to draw cards. It's just going to help you win. Except for Infernities, but Infernities can... Never mind, since Avery's a huge Infernity fan. But yeah, it's good in everything. It's just going to help you win. Alright, now just beating...
Just a quick side note, I actually used to have a Perfecting the Infernities thing on my channel. It was so shitty.
I'm probably gonna make it Perfecting GKs now that you mention it. So thank you for that, Avery.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live debate. If it didn't make any sense to you, or if you guys were, if you didn't really care one way or another, Pot of Greed gets banned or not.
If you didn't give a damn about us talking about Pot of Weed,
I hope you guys at least enjoyed us arguing. Okay, if anything, just thumbs up for us arguing. Leave a comment down below if you guys think that that Pot of Greed. If you think a Pot of Greed should be banned still, or if you think that it should be unbanned.
Banned.
Unbanned.
Banned.
Unbanned.
Banned.
We'll make this a 30-minute video, man. I don't care.
Hell, we will put this damn thing to 3 copies of Pot of Weed just to make everybody happy and see everybody high at regionals. Why not? Go ahead and do it, damn it.
Okay, so I hope you guys... By the way, they should make a pot archetype. I don't care what anyone says. Like Pot of Avarice, Pot of Duality, Pot of Greed,
I can tell you right now, every person that has ever been stoned in their life will join Yu-Gi-Oh! Just to run that archetype.
I agree. But, like, think about it. Like, you can, like, make pot monsters. This card, add this pot to your hand or whatever. I don't know. It sounds dumb.
My friend who gets high every weekend would join Yu-Gi-Oh! Just to play that deck. I guarantee you that.
Why in the flying fuck do you keep talking about getting high?
Because, I don't know. So it's pot of greed. Like, so, I have to make that joke.
It should be legal. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, he's Avery. I almost said my other name. My bad. I'm GagexScapegoat. We'll catch you later. Peace.